Dear aspirants, welcome to Goldfinch IAS and KS. As we have already planned, we have started an initiative yesterday, that is Economic News Daily, and we are also came up with two important articles today. That is, one is from the Hindu and one is from the Indian Express. Let me start with the Hindu newspaper first. And India's GDP is estimated to grow by 7.3%, says the National Statistical Office. What is important in this? Let us understand. See, not the fact. It is estimated earlier 7.2% of growth. Now it is expecting 7.3% of growth. Question will not come in this. Where the question may come in prelims or main examination. Let us understand what is this NSO, National Statistical Office. The National Statistical Office works under, it is an organization which works, it is an office actually works under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. This is the very important point and the first point which you have to remember, which you have to keep in mind. And what is the second point here is important is the gross value added term. Let us understand what is GVA. Normally in the newspaper you read GVA, gross value added. Let me explain you in a simple example. Gross value added meaning, let us take, there is a raw material seller and there is a manufacturer. Let us assume the raw material seller is selling rubber. The manufacturer is the manufacturer of tires. And the raw material seller is selling the commodity for 1000 rupees, including the tax. Let us assume including the tax. And the manufacturer have to make that rubber into tire. Correct? No. So he'll be making that rubber into tire. The rubber cost is 1000. So he bought the commodity for 1000 rupees. And he will be making it, into a ready product. That is, he will be adding his own value addition to it. He has added 2000 rupees and he prepared the tires. How the tires are prepared? Because he has purchased rubber. Rubber need to be processed to become tires, right? So he will be spending electricity, labor, other raw materials and everything to make the rubber into tires. So his value addition is 2000 rupees here. This is what is GVA. GVA meaning it is calculated for every sector, for all the commodities put together, is gross value added. If you want, I can give you one more example. Let me clear this. I can give one more example. Let us take one more example. Here is a raw material seller, manufacturer and wholesaler and retailer. These are all the ways in which we produce the commodities, right? A raw material seller is selling for 10 rupees and manufacturer buys it for 10 rupees and he will add his own value addition of 10 rupees, which means it becomes 20. And the wholesaler will buy the commodity from the manufacturer for 20 rupees and he will add his 10 rupees of contribution, that will be 30 rupees. And again retailer will buy it for 30 rupees and add his own contribution of 10 rupees, that will be, total will be 40 rupees. You getting the point? Each stage of the production, what is the value addition? Each stage of the production, the value addition is 10 rupees. Getting the point? This is what is, if I put together, here is also one more, here is also one more. If I put together, this becomes how much? 40. This 40, this is also 40. Remember. So this is what is the gross value added from raw material 10, manufacturer 10, wholesaler 10, retailer 10. Put together is 40. This is what is GVA, gross value added. Hope you understood. So next is the Competition Commission of India. Next topic is Competition Commission of India. Here we have Competition Commission of India. Let me just go through this. The Competition Commission of India is actually a very important body. It is a statutory body. First of all, let me tell you what is important in this. It is a statutory body and it is having the responsibility of maintaining the competition among the industries and companies in the country. And it is with the responsibility of enforcing the Competition Act of 2002, right? If you want, I'll write. The Competition Act 2002. The Competition Act of 2002 is enforced by this particular organization. Second, it is with the responsibility of maintaining the competition competition in the country among the industries and companies, etc. And third one, very important, it is a statutory body. What do you mean by statutory body? Which means it has been set up through an act. Getting the point? That is Competition Act 2002. Correct. And it is working under the ministry, and it is working under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. These are the important points with respect to Competition Commission of India. Probably in the preliminary examination, such question might be asked. Right? Let me go through the next discussion, that is about the Indian Express newspaper. Hindu we have completed. With respect to economy, only that two were the important things. And in Indian Express, the state cabinet approved, this is a Karnataka state government news actually, the state cabinet approved a proposal of the Labour Department to implement the Payment of Gratuity Act 2024. Very important. Here, not knowing about the particular act, but knowing about what is gratuity, understanding what is gratuity. What do you mean by gratuity here? See, for example, gratuity is been given by the employer to employee after the completion of the service by the employee. If I am an employee working in a company, after completion of my service, because of my honesty, because of my service given to the company will help me financially in the end of my retirement. That is what is gratuity. This is available normally for the government employees. Now the Karnataka state government is offered, it's very, very important, it has been given for unorganized sectors as well. This you can write as a model which should be implemented for all over the country as well, or else other state governments should also follow such a similar model to implement, right? And apart from this, the lower nominal GDP makes fiscal deficit target steeper. Here one more concept we found out, that is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit meaning simple. When any countries, any governments total expenditure is more than the total income of that country. When the total expenditure of the country exceeds the total income of that country, it is a fiscal deficit. Got it? So next is nominal GDP, real GDP and tax buoyancy. See, don't mistake me, because fiscal deficit I can explain some more, but this is not a class. I wanted to limit this video into just explaining what is important in the point of view of economy, right? And what is fiscal deficit? Very simple. Total expenditure of the country, or total expenditure of the government of the particular country, and total expenditure of that particular country exceeding the total revenue of that country or total income of that country. Correct? For example, my income is 100 rupees, but I am spending 150 rupees. My income is 100 rupees, I am spending 150 rupees. What is my deficit? My deficit is 50 rupees. This is what is fiscal deficit. That is comparing to the whole nation for a country, right? And now, before discussing nominal GDP, real GDP, let me tell you about tax buoyancy. What is tax buoyancy? Tax buoyancy meaning increase in the tax revenue collection to the government as an increase in the GDP or national income. Let us say an increase in GDP by just 1 unit, an increase in GDP by 1 unit, and how much it contribute to increase in tax revenue collection. Simple. See, for example, if the tax revenue collection in a country increases by 2 units, just an increase in 1 unit of GDP or national income, that is what is tax buoyancy. It means the tax is buoyant. Increase in GDP is 1 unit, but increase in tax revenue collection is 2 units, which means the tax is buoyant. Getting the point? This is what is called tax buoyancy, which means in a country the tax revenue collection is increasing more than the country's GDP or the national income. Just 1% change or 1% increase in GDP or national income, bringing total revenue collection by 2 units. I'm just telling you an example here. Hope you understand. Okay, let us now move on to let us now move on to nominal GDP and real GDP. I have given a particular chart here. Let us understand very clearly. Since it is a concept, I thought of taking this concept and discussing with you. And it is the content actually taken from my own book, that is Indian Economy, which is yet to be published. I'll publish very soon. And let us see this and try to understand. Nominal GDP, okay, here we have year, prices, quantity produced, this is, and GDP here. Listen carefully. Year 2011, 2012, 2024 is taken. Price in each year 4 rupees and 6 rupees, 10 rupees. Quantity produced 25, 20, 15. And the GDP each year in 2011 it is 100, 2012 it is 120, and 2024 150. This is nominal GDP. Very carefully see here. See, the quantity produced in the country is decreasing. The quantity produced in the country is decreasing from 25 to 20, 20 to 15. But the GDP is increasing 100 to 120, 120 to 150. This is nominal GDP, which means nominal GDP is calculated irrespective of the increase or decrease in prices or inflation. It is insensitive to inflation. Correct? So the GDP is increased. Quantity produced is decreasing. But GDP is increasing. Why? Because of increase in price. Price 4 to 6, 6 to 10. You understood? So without considering the change in prices, if we calculate the GDP, that is nominal GDP. If we take into consideration of the prices, then calculate the GDP, then it will be real GDP. Listen carefully here. Okay. So here we have the same year, prices, quantity produced, and the GDP. What is the year here? 2011, 12 and 24. Price 444 and quantity 25, 20, 15. GDP 180, 60. Listen carefully. Here we kept the price constant while calculating the real GDP. Here we are taking into consideration the base year prices. That is, base year is 2011 for us, right? Base year is normally a normal year taken into consideration. Base year price is how much? Only 4 rupees. We have taken in common and calculated, multiplied with 25, 20 and 15. Now the real GDP is actually showing us 180 and 60. Is the real GDP is increasing or decreasing? It is actually decreasing. The real GDP is decreasing. Why it is actually decreasing? Because the GDP itself is decreasing. A country should not take into consideration always a nominal GDP as a GDP. If you were taken nominal GDP as a GDP, we would have calculated miscalculation, right? We would have calculated wrong. The real GDP is not that. Real GDP is only 60, but we have shown 150. That was shown 150. Why? Even the quantity was less, but GDP was more earlier in the nominal GDP chart. If you want to see, please see here. Quantity produced 15, but GDP was 150. Why? The price was 10. But when we kept the price constant at 4, quantity produced is decreasing. As the quantity produced is decreasing, GDP is also decreasing. You understand? This is what is real GDP. Real GDP is sensitive to increase or decrease in prices. It is sensitive to inflation. Which means it is considering the inflation. It is avoiding the increase in prices. You getting the point? So this is the overall differences between the nominal GDP and real GDP, friends. Okay, I hope you understood the entire thing. Okay, so hope for your kind support and cooperation, and you're following me, and actually you're liking the videos, and you're subscribing, and you're also commenting. I'm grateful to that, and I'm putting this effort just for you, not for my benefit. It is only not for my benefit, it is also for your benefit. And please subscribe the channel and share the video, and keep supporting. Thank you so much.